introduce the pre-recorded statement of His Excellency Rodrigo Roa Duterte, President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Mr. President, COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the fragility of our societies and institutions. Our immediate responses were necessary, yet have driven our societies apart. When everyone needs the same limited resources, the compulsion to resort to a zero-sum approach is amplified. Yet this pandemic demands the opposite response: enhanced cooperation. Our first priority is to strengthen the capacity of health systems. Without a cure and a vaccine, we can only delay the spread of the disease while we reopen our economies. Life-saving services and products must be made accessible to the most vulnerable, the most to the least. Philippines reiterates the call for universal access for safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines and technologies. If any country is excluded by reason of poverty or strategic unimportance, this gross injustice will haunt the world for a long time. It will completely discredit the values upon which the United Nations were founded. We cannot let this happen. No one is safe unless everyone is safe. The Philippines strongly supports global medical and scientific initiatives forged at the WHO. This includes the ACT Accelerator, the COVAX facility, and the CTAP. Together with our brothers in ASEAN and the non-aligned movement, the Philippines supports a global health agenda with adequate resourcing and policy space for WHO. The Philippines will do its part. We will contribute to the pooling of global resources and help other countries without preconditions. Our collective initiatives in the UN and other multilateral frameworks are our best chance to defeat COVID-19. Mr. President, the challenges posed by the pandemic go beyond health and economy. In many parts of the world, the pandemic has worsened the threats to peace and security. The lawless weaponized this health crisis. They crippled the state's ability to respond. They leave COVID-19 to wreak its worst on the population. This is an inconvenient truth, but one that we must face head on. The Philippine support of Secretary General's report for global ceasefire is most welcome and appreciated. The Philippines wants to ensure the swift and unimpeded provision of medical care for all Filipinos, especially the most vulnerable. Yet combating terrorism is just as urgent as now as it was before the pandemic. In my country, this fight is about protecting life while preserving the democratic values we have restored without violence. Mr. President, the end of this pandemic is still difficult to see. Yet the broad outlines of the horizon are breaking through. It is never too early to think of a bouncing back strategy. The Philippines aims for a comprehensive and inclusive recovery with no one left behind. We are using all available socioeconomic instruments to protect our hard-won gains in development. Our recovery plan is built on solid macroeconomic and fiscal fundamentals with a funding allocation equivalent to 9.1% of GDP. Let us use this opportunity to establish a new normal using lessons from the crisis. Lockdowns have forced us to take full advantage of technology and innovation. It has sped up the adoption of e-commerce, e-learning, video conferencing, and artificial intelligence. Inadvertently, this pandemic has opened greener and more resilient pathways of growth and development. It has also laid bare how interconnected our societies have become. Now is the time to further strengthen our networks of solidarity and cooperation. Mr. President, the time is now for greater collective courage, meaningful actions to see the end of this pandemic. With the path clear, we see how far we can go working with each other and how much we can achieve when we act not as separate nations, but one humanity. There is simply no other way for our United Nations. Thank you.